Welcome to the Deconstructing Data podcast and live stream. I'm Jessie Lizak, CMO at BDEX, along with DW, aka David Welborn, in for David Finkelstein today, and he is BDEX's Chief Technology Officer. Always great to have you here. What's new, DW?
This week we're about to release a new version of our MCP service, which that's a thing that works with AI tools, and it's a new way of accessing our data. Instead of calling our APIs, your favorite AI tool can actually call it for you and just compile it however you want.
Nice. I'm looking forward to that. That's going to be awesome.
Mm-hmm.
We'll have to do some posts on LinkedIn and launch that for sure, so more people know about it. But today on Deconstructing Data and going out on the BDEX LinkedIn page, we're excited to welcome Nina Jagannathan. She is the founder of Wits End Studios. Welcome to the show, Nina.
Hey, everyone. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thanks for being here. To kick us off, can you tell us a little bit about your background and what led you to be the founder of Wits End Studios, Nina?
So basically, I've not to date myself too much. I've been in the industry and technology for over 20 years, and spanning from utilities and just business processes, cybersecurity, risk management, and maybe about close to 15 industries throughout my career. A lot of consulting, and from, as mentioned, utilities to higher ed to financial to manufacturing to a variety of things like that. So I sort of brought up with or created Wits End. My sister came up with the name, actually, and it's basically it's an advisory in terms of it does ghostwriting and in terms of positioning deep tech firms to translate their work into something that is commercializable. Right now, a lot of things in the deep tech space are all very scientist to scientist or and technologist to technologist. And if you want to bring in more people into the fold, you need a translator of some sorts to be able to help with that. And in that, along with that, I've done a lot of work with governance and giving advice and consulting to a lot of companies in the governance space, regardless of the type of governance, which we can talk about. They're pretty much the same thing.
From a prior conversation, it sounds like you're very good at taking very complex things and making them understandable to the average individual, right?
I enjoy that. It's a challenge to me. They always say that if you can't turn around and teach it to someone, then you don't really know it as well as you think you do. And I kind of take that to heart. My dad was a professor at the University of Iowa, and he very much instilled in me like the Richard Feynman first principles towards every.
I love that. That guy.
Yeah. And so I learned. So it's basically, if you don't remember anything, remember the fundamentals, and it will get you where you need to go. And that's the same thing how I explain technical and like super uber nerdy concepts to people that don't have that background, and make it so that it's palatable and they can turn around and explain it to other people and kind of propagate that, making sure that, knowledge shouldn't be gatekept. And I try to do my small part in helping towards that, helping that.
Awesome.
So I guess that really helps when you have a bunch of nerds who've been stuck in the lab trying to get quantum computing working. You show up and you can turn around and explain how it works to the average individual.
I try.
It's sell
like yeah, because if nobody knows why, it's always what's in it for me, right? Why do I care? Why do I need to care? And if they don't understand that, if you say, "Oh, it's this many qubits," and all of them like,
"What's a qubit?"
Yeah, exactly. It's like, is that a video game? It's like, no, that's qubit. But yeah, that's exactly it. Though it's making it so that you kind of bring everyone along for the ride. That you start getting invested in your journey as soon as they understand what you're trying to do and what the objectives are. And then also, ideally, I'm just kind of a big, softy at heart, because a lot of these new technologies, especially quantum, can be leveraged and implemented to stuff that helps with, helping people, helping, unrepresented or lower represented communities, and there's all for children, and helping with diseases, helping with medicine, and there's all sorts of wonderful applications. And to get people to understand what the possibilities are, then they will actually energy, all sorts of stuff. I mean, and that ultimately would be like when I grow up one day, to be able to do stuff like that.
Nice.
So cool. Yeah.
One of my first exposures, real exposures to anything quantum at all, is this warning I get when I log in, when I SSH to a Linux instance, and it warns me that the encryption that I'm using at the moment is not future proof, meaning that in the near future, quantum computing will be able to hack it. And that was my first exposure to that. Do you have any words of advice for that sort of thing?
Yeah, I mean, and it's funny you should say that. That is pretty much what got me down that rabbit hole of quantum computing and quantum risk in the first place. Is I read an article like over a year ago, and I'm late to the game in that respect. And that basically many of the encryption methodologies, analogs, are not going to be, they're going to be able to be hacked. And so basically with quantum governance, as well as AI, and we'll get to all those, the governance piece is foundational. And that's why I love so much about deconstructing data. It all comes down to data. It all comes down to the information you have, how it's protected. Do you want to keep protecting it? How important is it? Who owns it? And if you have that solid foundation and that background, back to first principles, if you have all that in place, then you're going to be able to know what to do with it. So in the quantum example, so basically you need to know the lay of the land. You need to know all your important data. What is it? What makes it important? What business decision does it drive? In addition to that, you need to understand who owns it. You understand what applications use it, and have that whole inventory in place and how it's currently protected, and how long do you want it protected for. If it's one of those things that we're gonna be moving on to something else, okay, fine. And this is also not just the data you're storing. It's the data that's being transmitted to vendors. It's also data that's being used at the time. So it's like basically in all different forms of data, you need to understand it's basically control. It's basically making sure you know what it is. And then once you know what it is and how it's currently being protected, work with companies to put the new algorithms, the new encryption protocols in place. But that is a lot, and that's a thing that, well, quantum's not going to be for another, whatever, 20 years, 15 years. Like, it changes every 5 minutes. And that's the thing. There's a lot of advisement about 2029, a lot of advisement 2030. And the thing is, in a lot of companies, it's going to take that long just to figure out everything. And then also, I mean, that's all just IT. If you have like manufacturing, or if you have other like legacy, if you're in a utility space and you have these legacy tools that are all black box, that are stuff from like the 60s and the 70s, and you don't even know what data is in there or being stored, that is also at risk. You have to go in with these governance, with these quantum activities, and assume it's already been compromised. Assume that it's already been, that there is, it's already gone. So, because people, what they're doing is called like harvest now, decrypt later. So basically, all the bad actors are just taking all the data. They can't access it now, but they know they will be able to.
But they will, yeah.
Exactly. And that's a huge risk. And also, same thing with trust certificates. Basically the same thing. They'll just grab all those too, and they'll know in the future they'll be able to access it. And not enough companies are understanding that, and they think it's a future problem and all that other stuff. And
so the cow's already out of the barn.
Oh yeah.
In that respect.
Yes, and I appreciate that. I'm from Iowa, so I do appreciate it.
So you can go close the barn now, and it's like the cow's already out.
Exactly.
So you have to plan accordingly. Wow.
Exactly.
That's eye-opening, because I hadn't really thought about that. I thought we had time, but we don't really, because people may have already like sniffed, all they need to figure stuff out if we don't change something.
Right.
You said something about how long you hang on to data and stuff like that. That's really critical too. My personal information was released into the wild from a company, a well-known phone company, which I won't say who it is, but it's the biggest one, so you can figure it out. And I haven't had a home phone in 15 years, and they still had my Social Security back from when they used to do that. In order to get a home phone, you had to give your Social Security number and everything else. They had it, even though I had no other account with them. And they a couple of years ago they got hacked and it got out. Can you believe that? That's a very good example of you shouldn't have data you don't need anymore.
Right.
So,
right. And
totally get it.
Yeah. And like I said, it's still, I mean, there's varying opinions on when it's going to, there is no Q day. And like people like to have a marketing thing. It's like, oh, it's like, all of a sudden Arnold Schwarzenegger shows up. It's not going to be like that. It is whenever they're able to decrypt your stuff. And in a lot of cases, and a lot of companies, they have a decent amount of data governance, but not to the level of encryption, not to the level that we need to protect against these, the quantum proof cryptography. And also, like I said, I mentioned before about vendors. When you are sending stuff out to vendors, what are they doing with your data? Are they protecting it? Like you had mentioned earlier about like making sure, like the Linux example. So there's multiple prongs that you need to consider.
Mm-hmm. And it's out there. Quantum is out there. In Ohio, I see in the news, the Cleveland Clinic, we're the home to the first IBM quantum system. And then there's the IBM quantum data center. So, I mean, there's healthcare using it. Financial services are using it. So I think it's interesting to hear that, there are people out there that think it's 20 years away because it's here. It's being used.
Right.
Yeah, well, AI has been around for a while too, until they suddenly had this explosion due to the large language model, and now look at it. So really, quantum computing is, it seems far away, but it only needs an inflection point like that for it to explode.
Right, exactly, and it's that's the thing too. It's like with quantum, with AI, the same thing. It's the thing that's frustrating with me when I run into some clients. They're of the mind that it's fine. Even with, and I know we're going to get to AI. I'll hold that story till then. But like in quantum, they're like, oh, it's fine. It's not going to happen. We don't have to worry about it. And they just either that or they don't understand the enormity of it. And it's something that will happen. But like I mentioned before, I would love to meet the company that has everything lined up, everything, like all their data. They know exactly who owns it. They know exactly what business decisions it ties into. They have all that stuff, set up already. And that is awesome. Most companies don't. And they're also, like we were talking about banking at one point. So like just your online banking, all of that stuff can be something that is at risk. So it's something for companies to consider.
So what would you, what is a person supposed to do? It's a real question. I'm not just saying, let's ask this question for the point of this podcast. I got a ton of data. And we have a ton of data in the BDEX. And if your assumption is, or the safe assumption is, all the encrypted data that we have has been parked somewhere, let's say, and people are going to figure out how to, decrypt it using a quantum computing. What should I do now to prevent that? Or how can I minimize that impact?
I mean, I think we have to, even though we go with the assumption that it's being harvested right now, we can stop the bleeding. And the best way to do it is start doing that inventory. It's called the C-BOM is one of the acronyms for it. It's cryptographic book of materials. So it's basically understanding the lay of the land. What are all your data? How is it being protected? Who owns it? What business decisions drive it? And having that full access to everything. Start doing that. That alone is going to take a lot of companies a couple of years to do. And it's going to take time and effort. But that's the best thing that you can. And then start working with your vendors to find out what are they doing to protect the data that you send to them.
So speaking of vendors and whatnot, do the NIST standards apply when it comes to quantum computing?
They have a whole set of quantum stuff.
Got it.
Yeah. And then also, they've done quite a bit with that too, as I've been nerding out on that.
Very interesting.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of quantum scientists get a little bit irritated, rightfully so. They've been talking about this for a long, long time ago, like decades. And people like me are like, "Oh, do you know there's a problem?" Like, we already knew.
Yeah, we're all been, this whole time we've been yawning. Yeah, that's a Jetsons thing. We're not going to worry about that now.
Right, exactly. And super frustrating.
Yeah. Well, we naturally covered, without even kicking it off, preparing your data for the quantum era. So before we get into the next topic, which is AI governance in a rapidly changing landscape, is there anything else you'd like to add on this topic, Nina?
Basically, just the thing is also another thing that companies don't realize is anything that I'm suggesting in terms of quantum, it is a good idea to do regardless, even if quantum wasn't around on the horizon. It's good to have full control over your domain, and it's not enough companies spend enough time on it, to be honest. So I think it's a good practice regardless to get your house in order.
Well said.
Absolutely. All right. Great convo so far. Let's get into the next topic. AI governance is in a rapidly changing landscape. Talk to us about that, Nina.
This one's been fun. I've talked to a lot of people about it, and it's been a varying spectrum of approaches towards it. Some are taking it very seriously, and they're adding the governance piece to it, which needs to be there. It's and putting in strict guardrails and having policies and all this other stuff, because ultimately governance, whether it be AI, whether it be quantum, or it be just security in general, it could be anything. Governance is governance is governance. And it's understanding what your data does and who owns it and what happens if something goes wrong, or what business decisions. It allows you to, and understanding changes to data, what are the business impacts, all this stuff. And AI especially has another angle, is if basically who owns it, and what if something goes wrong? What if AI does an AI thing and drifts or hallucinates and makes decisions that isn't what is intended? Who is the human in the middle? Who is making all? And so basically, I've seen a lot of companies that think that, oh, well, we'll just write a policy. We'll do some, a version of a trust fall exercise, and it's like, oh, we'll just throw a ball around a room and just like, okay, what's a AI term, and let's make this fun little party, and that thinking that's efficient. And it's frightening, because a lot of these companies need to make their business model is something that requires a lot of scrutiny, and then they're loose with their AI, and there's no direction around it other than make sure you do right decisions. And here's 5 things in this one PowerPoint that we want to show you. Just follow these and you should be fine. The number of companies I've seen, like in Instagram and whatnot, I think I made a post on this on LinkedIn, because I went full Karen on this one. And they said, like, the advertisement that they use is, the scenario they painted was, okay, if you are having a conversation with your manager and you don't know what to say, or he or she asks you for feedback on some presentation or some material, upload it into our system and we will give you advice. So in other words, go ahead
With
and put
icons,
yeah, sure, why
little
not?
icons, yeah.
My mind. I was like, what? I ran to the comments there to like, I want DM them. I'm like, no, you do not do that. You do not advise anyone to do that. And so, yeah, so when companies that don't have proper governance in place, or they think, oh, well, just employees will do the right thing. I mean, nobody's going to upload their proprietary information with bad. I mean, some might have ill intent, but some of them are just trying to do their jobs and they think this is a way to help them. So nobody has any bad intentions to do it. They just don't know any better. And that's the thing with governance, and a strict governance about making sure everyone's educated and they have something in place other than, like I said, the trust fall exercise. Oh, we'll just do this over drinks. No.
Well,
Yeah, I tend to get off.
So like an example, like AI governance. Are you talking about like I've heard companies using a hosted version of Claude, for instance, versus using Anthropic's direct APIs? Is that something that fall under? Is that being done because of AI governance?
It should be. I mean, there should be rules and the AI policy should talk about, like, at a high level, do's and don'ts. And then also the standards are like, these are the lists of things. And if there is a new venue, a new way to that they'd like to leverage AI, goes through some sort of committee or some decision-making body. And that is the process that the governance puts in place, as well as, once again, back to data, knowing what the inventory of, like hygiene, pretty much good habits. And it's like, and understanding where all the data, what data is being used by AI, in what tools, in which way, and what business decisions are being driven by it, who owns it, and if something goes wrong, what was it? And if something goes wrong, what's the kill switch? What do you do to stop it? What do you do before it starts sending out transactions? What do you do if and having like a risk-based approach? So if this particular proposal, this agentic AI component is hitting this data, which is high risk, and it's doing this and this and this, then a governing body should weigh in on how it should work and the level of involvement they should have, and how it works and how it gets run and who is monitoring it. And the same thing is, oh, this is some small thing I'm running on, looking at various documentation on my SharePoint site. Okay, no, and it doesn't do anything. It just reads stuff. Okay, fine. Like that type of thing. And having that discernment is important. That's the part that governance has to put in place and be educated on. And a lot of companies aren't realizing it.
Right, so like what data is being used by AI, inadvertently, I guess an employee could upload a customer's sensitive data or something in the process of doing their job.
Yep, absolutely.
That's valid. I love the question, who owns it? So you have a developer, he uses AI, or he or she uses AI, and gets a feature done, and it makes it past QA somehow, yet there's some insidious bug in production. We decided it was always going to be the developer's fault, no matter what, because they're the ones that use the tool. They should have checked it if it made it out and it was reasonable enough to catch. What are your thoughts on that?
I mean, it is a totally different animal. The thing is, I would love a lot of companies to consider, because a lot of times when you run something over and over again, AI does drift. So is this the type of thing that the responses change each time you run it, or after like 10 times it starts doing something wacky? There has to be, it can't just be the developer. It should be the business owner, the person that requested that tool, that wanted that done, should ultimately weigh in enough to say, yes, this is mine. And if it drifts, I will watch it. I will make sure it doesn't cause any damage, I will monitor it. I mean, that type of, at that level, it shouldn't, obviously the developer and the QA and all this other stuff, they have to do their due diligence, but there is kind of that nebulousness with AI it is a different animal than previous things that we had to worry about.
It's a new world.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. All right. Well, I'm going to transition us to our third topic. I guess before I do, though, I'll ask you, is any like actionable tips you might give to any businesses who are looking to address AI governance in a rapidly changing landscape?
I mean, like I said, I'm going to sound like a broken record, but it's all about the data. It's understanding all the inventory, understanding your inventory from an agentic perspective as well as vendors. There's also the vendor component, because a lot of companies, a lot of vendors, their tool might be this widget A, but their latest release might have an AI component on it. So third-party risk management is also key, because you have to, whoever's running that has to keep an eye on if the features in that tool have evolved to include AI, and what are they doing with your data. And sometimes it get just added and they don't necessarily tell you, or they don't make it clear that that's what's going on. So to answer your question, inventory, understanding from an agent perspective, what tools you're currently using, what does it touch, who owns it, all that, get that book of materials in place. And same with your vendors. So are you, who are these companies, and what data do they touch? And what AI components, if any, do they have that they recently done, and what do they do with your data? And when you end your relationship with them, what do they return the data? Do they erase it? What do they do, or do they keep it? There was in the news, I forgot what it was. There was some application that makes a big statement of any pictures you upload, anything you do, it will be ours in perpetuity. And
Yes, Facebook.
That does it too. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
Any Meta product does. And then there are other ones that do that too, and they're very specific. And one of them, I forgot the name, it's not only do we keep your data, in the future, no matter what, we'll always have it. Even if it's like something that doesn't last on the system, or you immediately delete it, doesn't matter. We say it over and over again, the internet's forever. So there's a lot of things like that they can use. They train on your data, and your competitors might use the same tool. So there's a lot of that stuff or somebody in their in good faith attempt to get their job done uploads Nina's social security number.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yep.
Well, we've talked about the opportunities. Oh, sorry, David, were you going to add on to that?
No. I just said it's been known to happen.
Yeah.
Yes.
Definitely. So we've talked about the opportunities with AI, and we've talked about the risks, but none of that really matters if we don't know what data we have, where it lives, who owns it, how it's being used. So let's change into our last topic that's becoming the foundational. It is becoming something it should be foundational for every organization, managing risk through strong data governance. What does that actually look like, Nina, in practice, and where should companies even start?
Like I said, the thing that's so cool about it, I'm going to repeat myself again. That's the thing. It's like, when I was looking at the topics, like, oh god, that's not going to sound the same. But data governance is 100% table stakes.
You said at the beginning, you said you bring things down to the core fundamentals, and you build on that, and that's what you're saying each and every time is these fundamentals. I'm sorry to interrupt you.
Oh no! You're 100% right. That's what I end up thinking that way, and that's how I explain things too. So data is like you said, Jessie. Data is absolutely foundational, and understanding every nook and cranny of it, and understanding the evolution of it, and keeping it super secure, and keeping it quantum secure, like with the encryption that is involved, keeping track of all of that, and having that huge lay of the land, and what decisions drive it, who owns it, and all that good stuff. So, and then also putting risk around it. So how important is this data? And it's like, okay, what riskier, what decisions are being made for it, and how much impact. And also we can overlay financial or quantitative, which we haven't talked about yet, is, and especially with risk, is like there's also like okay, this is risky because it has PII and this has stuff that we care about. But in addition, how much money would we lose if this got out? How would it impact our reputational risk? How would it, all those nuances need to be put into place. And obviously it's not going to be an overnight thing, but it's something that is its own evolution. And it's something that people like kind of, oh yeah, we need to do that. And it's like, you know what, better late than never. And a starting point is just starting at, one application. This is how we do it. And each director take care of their own group and just start building this huge, it's like through like data warehousing and data lakes and whatever body of water you want to use, and put all the data in there and just start evolving it over and over again. Because the great thing is being able to make proper business decisions, risk-informed decisions based on that data. And especially when you have that in place, it doesn't matter what comes, any new technology or any new threat, whatever you want to call it, is in place. You'll know what is your impact and how to protect against it. And yeah, I can go on and on about that, but that's table stakes.
I actually wrote down what you said, have it in quotes here. It says, it's all about the data. And the cryptographic book of materials, right? I said that right?
Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
Good. Yes. I learned so much from these podcasts, by the way. So thank you for that.
Yeah, same. And we've got questions in the comments. So what are 3 governance decisions that mid-market companies can make to grow revenue?
That's actually really good, because the thing is, like, the challenge is governance is, I'm a huge governance nerd, so I'm going to go, I keep climbing back on that soapbox. I'm going to do it again now. So the thing is, governance is considered a cost center. It's considered there is no revenue associated with it. But the thing is, governance drives business decisions. It actually helps innovation, especially in AI, where you are able to have people trust the data that your agents produce. So David's question in terms of like the three main, data, number one, and in terms of and then I think, and if you want to go in the AI space, absolutely should. Then have the governance around that. And quantum is coming, whether or not it's like getting that stuff. Like, okay, I'll go go crazy over it. But yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's like get those 3 in line and have risk management around it, and that hopefully that answers the question. I probably just babbled there, but.
Like, I'm still on mute.
It's a long question.
Yeah. Chris Winters, I'll read it for those listening on audio only. This has been fabulous. You should have your own AI governance masterclass. I've learned so much in a short time. You've really impressed me on that AI governance rests with everyone in an organization. A lot of orgs want to move fast and break things, as it were. What are some small steps that can be taken at the developmental level to begin to instill good AI governance behaviors?
I think I like this question. So one thing also is companies wait for the directors and the leadership to push forth that, that edict. Okay, you're going to use governance, you're going to do this, but you can do it on your own and have good hygiene and all the good governance principles on your own. So at least your house is in order. So I would say basically do the data mapping on your own. So it's like, okay, what, and ask the right questions. If the business analyst or the business owner doesn't bring it up in the stories and the JIRA stories that you write or whatever, ask those questions. So ask the ones that I've been rattling off. So like, who owns this data? What business decisions does this drive? And if something goes wrong, who is ultimately responsible for shutting it down? And end to end, what are all these components that you need to keep in mind with the design? And just doing that as part of your structure and the approach to the way you develop stuff is going to help, because even if it isn't pushed down from above, you at least are doing your part.
So basically you're saying we should design in compliance.
Yes, absolutely. And eventually there will be organizations that if you start getting audited, they're going to want to know why you did what you did. And if there's contracts involved in it, or, according to NIST, you're supposed to do this, you didn't, like that type of thing. So be the good steward anyway.
Yeah, I was smiling at that last comment that I think Melissa said you should have your own show. And I happen to agree.
I paid all these people, by the way.
Oh, very good. So just using old-fashioned Google, not AI, I found that you have a website called AI Security Playbook, right? Is that yours? Yes.
Yeah, that's mine.
Okay, yeah. So that's a good start, I guess, for someone who wants to learn a little bit about it.
Yeah,
right?
it was part of a ghostwriting endeavor. So, yeah, and David's checks in the mail too. And the
there you go.
but yeah, that was if anyone is interested in nerding out with me on governance and AI security or quantum security.
Well, they'll have to reach out to you, and we're going to get to you sharing your contact information here at the end. But before we do, we just had such a great conversation. We have to ask, what are some of your favorite tools that you use in your tech stack that empower you?
So what I do, I use AI a little bit differently, or maybe I don't. Maybe it's not different. Maybe I'm just not that special. But this is what I do is I build these little playbooks and processes. Along with governance, I'm also a huge process nerd. So I create these processes and have it create questions and all this other stuff in it. I have it drill me on stuff whenever I want to have an idea for something, or a new agent, or a new process I want to build, or a new book, or a new article I want to write, or whatever. Poke holes in all this in my logic. What am I missing? And I know the running joke is always be nice to your AI tools, because when the robots rise up, you're one of the good if the AI robots won't like me, I'm not that nice. Because I try to make sure, because a lot of the AI agents tend to be very sycophantic, and so they're trying to please you, and that's how it's built. So okay, what am I missing here? What am I doing here? If I'm consulting with a company and I'm thinking, what would be the best way to write a one-pager? What would be a thing? And what would be the most use for people to provide value and educate? What would be the things I'm missing? So I guess I use chat more than I do Claude. I haven't really, and that's the thing also, it's like Claude, and I could be wrong, and somebody in the audience correct me. Claude is you have to validate your identity and show stuff, and that's giving me the ick. So I don't want to do that. And as I have enough, my stuff's already out there already. And and so I'm trying to avoid that as much as possible. Exactly. And these old Claude, Chat, Grok, whatever, it's like religion. And it's like, my AI can beat up your AI. And it's really funny how people are very loyal to whatever.
Dueling AIs.
Yes.
I mean, you can tell immediately when an email's been generated by AI, and a developer sends me, there's all the problems with the stuff that you did, and I'll just put that into my AI thing, and he answers back with snarky comments and everything. and I'll okay, complete with icons and emoticons and everything else that it always throws in there. But We actually do that. We have the Claude, and then we have the co-work, I think it's called, to critique each other's processes, in the development, and it seems to work.
Yeah, I'm not. I haven't made a commitment to an AI in particular. I'm playing the field still, David. No, it's like so I kind of, I do, like I said, I kind of pit them against each other. And I actually have written that. Now, Claude said this. Can you do better?
Yeah,
And it's like, yeah. So yeah, my chat history looks a little unhinged. It's something I hope nobody really sees one day. It's like
Codex, that's the one. So
yeah.
and Claude's good at writing code, but Codex is great at reviewing it. So
Yes, yeah, exactly.
it's for now. Let's see what happens here in the next week. You never know.
Yeah, they might put a huge backdoor in something, and
you never know.
All the fun will pop
Well,
out then at that point.
with 1 minute left, Nina, can you let the audience know a little bit more about you and how they can reach you after the show?
I'm on LinkedIn, so that's probably the easiest way. So it's like yeah, I'm on LinkedIn. DM me if you want virtual coffee chat or whatever, and nerd out on quantum or security or governance or how the New York Mets suck. That's fine, all of it.
I think it's safe to say that there's not a lot of Nina Jagannathans around out there, and
there can only be one
on the internet. I know there is only one. I only found one. This very unique name.
Exactly. Like I'll bore you with that Genesis story some other time.
Next time. We'll have to bring you on next year for another update on quantum, Nina.
Absolutely. I'd love that.
I think we've only touched the surface of it. So I think there's plenty of material for a few more shows, I think.
Absolutely.
Wouldn't you agree, Jessie?
Oh, 100%. Yeah, I think we got to keep talking about it.
That would be great.
Well, I will see both of you backstage. And for everyone else, we'll be right back at the same time next week, Thursday at 4:15. Thank you both so much for sitting in with us. And DW, it's always great having you on Deconstructing Data. Looking forward to next time we get to see you on the show.
It's always a pleasure. Thank you.
All right. See you soon.
So audience members, we want to invite you to get powered by BDEX. Build authentic connections with your audience and drive unprecedented engagement. So just imagine harnessing the power of AI to craft your audiences that truly resonate with your brand, ensuring that your marketing is hitting the mark every time. We want to bring you closer to those marketing goals, and we're eager to guide you. So just visit bdex.com. You can click on the Talk to an Expert button and get powered by BDEX.
Deconstructing Data is the show that makes data make sense. Every Thursday, David Finkelstein and myself, Jessie Lizak, sit down with industry experts to unpack how data really drives marketing. We do this in plain language anyone can understand. If you want real insights, real conversations, and zero jargon, tune into Deconstructing Data live on LinkedIn every Thursday at 4:15 p.m. Eastern Time. Yeah.